today's episode of the Dating Orange podcast, I'm joined by Adam Lane Smith, also known as Attachment Adam. Adam is an author, speaker, and media personality widely recognised as a global expert in attachment theory. He is also a former marriage and family therapist, bringing years of hands on experience to his work. In this episode, he is going to talk to me about attachment theory, why so many women are settling for situationships, how women are biologically wired for stability, the concept of emotional impermanence, and even how Adam handles the backlash that he gets from feminists on Twitter, all for suggesting that women should be happy to see their partners at the end of the day. Adam, thanks a million for joining me today.
Very, very glad to be here, and I love your accent.
I love your accent as well. Now, can you give us some background on yourself, like how you got into attachment theory? Like, why do you think it's important?
Absolutely. So I was a marriage and family therapist for many, many years, working with people who had the most severe mental health problems you can imagine. I worked with everybody, though, trust fund families, blue collar families. At one point, they pulled me into the correctional facilities, and I was working with death penalty inmates. And then I ended up working with a lot of couples and everybody in between. And what I discovered very quickly was that although in school, they had told us, we don't know why mental health problems start. It seems to be chemical imbalances, so you need to throw a lot of medication at it, as is the American way. It turns out that there's a lot of childhood issues that come in, and we learn painful lessons in childhood that may or may not be helpful to us. And then we play out those patterns again and again and again in adulthood. And this just so happens to be something called attachment theory, how we attach to our caregivers to get our needs met, get love, get safety or not, really determines how we tend to date people as well and the people we select. So, if anyone out there is wondering if this is important, the research over here in America is pretty bad on this. It says that 65% of people in Gen Z have attachment issues. Only 35%, maybe maximum, and that's an optimistic number. 35% of people have secure, healthy attachment. Two-thirds of you listening to this, or probably even more of you, to be honest with you, depending on what platform you're listening on, you probably have attachment issues or you're going to date people with attachment issues, and that's going to cause a lot of disaster.
What type of attachments are there? It's three, is it?
There's three and then a blend of two, which is the fourth kind of. There is secure attachment. I've got five kids myself, so I'm raising them. When I talk to them, I say, okay, if you have a problem, you talk to me about it. We will solve it together. If you have a need, tell me about it. We will find a way to take care of it. If you make a mistake, I'm not going to yell at you or scream at you. I'll work with you to make it better. If there's a problem, we will solve the problem together. If there's conflict, in other words, we will still be a family. If you can work with your kids like this, or if your caregivers work with you and teach you that you will be cared for and loved, and people will be reasonable, not perfect, but consistent and reasonable, then you can develop something called secure attachment, where you believe most people will be reasonable and consistent, and you go out and expect that from people, and then you don't settle for less. So you tend to signal differently, you talk differently, you ask more questions on dates, you push a little bit more personal matters to make sure you're compatibility tested, you hold off on sex and intimacy a little bit longer, you do a number of things that are different, and you signal differently to the secure people. So they sort of segregate off into this pool. They get married a lot younger, they stay together a lot longer, they sort of distance themselves. The other pool, if you grow up and you get love and consistency and safety, and then it's ripped away, and then you get love and it's taken away, and love and it's taken away. Your parents, maybe they threw you in daycare way too early, and they didn't mean to, but maybe you were in there way too fast and you barely saw your parents because they were working and exhausted. A lot of parents are stuck with this. Maybe you were in the intensive care as an infant because you were born premature for a couple of weeks, and maybe you were in the incubator sort of thing, and afraid and alone in there. Maybe you had an abusive parent. Maybe you had an absent parent. Maybe your parents were exhausted, traumatized, stressed, depressed, distracted endlessly by a phone. Maybe they just yelled at you a lot and put you in your crib because they didn't know how to deal with your crying because they were so messed up. Whatever it might be, if you got love and it was taken away, got love and it was taken away, you form an addiction behavior and a learned helplessness behavior to this
Mm.
bonding hormone, very important, called oxytocin. Oxytocin is the love hormone that we release when we feel safe and loved and cared for. And these children, they get it and it's ripped away, and they get it and it's ripped away. And they form this terror of something is wrong inside of me. I am not good enough. No one will ever love me. I don't deserve love. So I have to earn approval from other people. I have to find people who need me. I have to be approval seeking, have no boundaries, make other people feel good, and I have to look perfect and be perfect. This is anxious attachment style, obsessive fear of abandonment. The other side can also be true if you're around parents who are hurtful, screaming at each other, fighting, distant, cold, and aloof, and you never really get that oxytocin bonding, not really. Or if the people around you are chaotic and your brain recognizes, no, 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 this isn't me. This is you guys. There's something wrong with you, and I need to keep myself safe from other people who are causing problems. I can't let anyone in because they make my problems worse. Then you can form what's called an avoidant attachment style, where your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight, goes way up. It actually blocks your oxytocin receptors. You do not get oxytocin for most of your life because you don't get that oxytocin. You don't get what's called GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid. GABA shuts down cortisol. So your cortisol is now unregulated because you have no GABA and no oxytocin. So you have to white knuckle it and be a hardcore survivalist, army of one, lone wolf sort of person. These people are very, very good in finance, in work, in logical thinking and making plans, risk assessment, but terrible in emotionally intimate relationships because they've never felt emotional intimacy or closeness ever. They have no idea what it feels like. They can be manipulative or they can be much more ethical and like live and let live, but they just don't understand closeness at all. It's just terrifying to them. And that's avoidant attachment. And then people listening are probably asking, can I be both? Yes, the blend of both is called disorganized. Sometimes you'll see it called fearful avoidant, but disorganized means cannot be neatly organized into either camp. I am both anxious and avoidant depending on who I'm around and how stressed out I am. When people love me and want to be with me, I flip to avoidant because I know I'm going to screw it up. So I sabotage my relationships and I run screaming. But if they don't want me, I am approval seeking, craving, and desperate. And I will chase that person to get their approval until the ends of the earth. So, and you'll flip back and forth, hot and cold, hot and cold. So there's an overview of the attachment styles.
Avoidant, anxious, secure, and then the mixture of the two bad
Disorganized,
ones.
yes,
Okay, so there's four.
absolutely.
Right, I get you. My friend, I was over in her house the other night and I told her that I was doing this podcast with you, and she was really interested in it because she said that she has recognized that she is definitely an anxiously attached and she's always attracted to men or sticks with men who are avoidant. Is this like a common thread that goes on, and what is she meant to do?
100%. This is probably the most common pairing is anxiously attached women who feel not good enough, finding men who don't know what love is. Those men come into the relationship, and if they're ethically avoidant, let's assume they're not manipulative. Maybe hopefully she picks men who are at least ethical and not horribly manipulative. I hope.
It's a mixture.
If not, give me a call. We'll work on it. But um, if he's ethical, then what's going to happen is he walks into a relationship and says, okay, his brain doesn't understand oxytocin or intimacy. It doesn't understand GABA. It doesn't get that. There's another bonding hormone called vasopressin that men have more receptors for. When we solve problems together, we release vasopressin. He won't have that because his brain says, hey, I can't solve problems with people because they make it worse. So when there's a problem, I pull away. I solve it silently by myself. I don't speak to you for 2 weeks, and then I come back and pretend everything is fine, even though I had to solve a problem by myself arbitrarily, and I made a decision for you, kind of thing. And he won't have much serotonin either, because serotonin is produced in the parasympathetic nervous system when you're calm in the rest and digest mode in the gut. He is always in his sympathetic, so his serotonin levels are low, oxytocin, GABA, everything goes really low. So then what this generates is just endless cortisol that just floods. And then he's dopamine dependent. So these men are hyper dopamine dependent. They need a woman to be stunningly off the charts gorgeous or dressed to the absolute hilt, or she needs to be a crazy, lady of the evening in the bedroom kind of thing. I don't know what's acceptable to say over in Ireland or not, but
You can say whatever you want.
okay, all right, all right, all right. I've known enough Irish people. I should have known that one. Um, he's cortisol dependent and dopamine dependent. So what's going to happen is he's going to get into the newness of the relationship. He is flooded with novelty dopamine. It feels great. She is new. She smells new. Those look new. That's new. Everything is new. It has that new car smell to it. And he loves it. So he floods her with dopamine in return, but she doesn't receive dopamine. He floods her with attention, compliments, kindness, and she gets oxytocin. Now she's getting all the oxytocin she's ever wanted. We call this usually love bombing. He's love bombing. If he's ethical, he's not doing it on purpose. He thinks he's giving her dopamine. She's receiving the most love and approval and kindness she's ever had in her life. And she now believes he's in love with her emotionally and intimately. He is infatuated with her temporarily from the novelty dopamine. This novelty dopamine will burn out at 5 to 7 months when his novelty dopamine falls off a cliff. His receptors say, this is not enough. She's not pretty enough. I work with celebrities who are dating literal models and supermodels. Even they are not pretty enough to make it over that 5 to 7 months. You have to enhance it. New outfits, new toys, making videos, introducing other people into the bedroom. Now it's a group activity, doing all kinds of things just to try to flood with more dopamine so he can keep rising to the occasion and performing. Otherwise, he can't even rise to the occasion. And a lot of men in America now in their 20s and 30s are experiencing erectile dysfunction as a result of this cycle right here. So she becomes more desperate because she's wildly in love at 7 months. She feels so connected. She's ready to get married and have 50 fat babies. And he is now less attracted to her than he's ever been. Her heart is broken. She's trying to figure out, please don't leave me. I knew it. I'm unlovable. I'm garbage. You finally saw it. I'll do anything. And it begins this cycle where she chases him. Now he freaks out. He withdraws because she seems emotionally dysregulated. Why is this crazy lady chasing me? Why are you mad at me? I gave you dopamine and you gave me some. We should be equal. Why are you begging for marriage? Why would I get connected with you when I'm less connected than ever? He has no concept for the real intimacy that she's feeling and seeking. And she feels like he's abandoning her because she's not worthy of him. This is the cycle. I'm sure I'll pause for breath. You've probably seen this cycle many times, right?
They things are going really well, and then he kind of just dropped off a cliff, not giving her the original attention that he was at the start. Then any little bit of anything that they do, so like for example, if he was to like then give her a compliment, or like, I don't know, do something charming, keep holding the door open for her, anything like that, and it keeps her going.
It's possible if it's a 2 month cycle that these men she's selecting might actually be the disorganized type. The avoidant men don't usually jump out on you at 2 months like that. These are situationships, so it's possible she's only connecting with guys who are the most damaged, really more manipulative type men who are really fearful of relationships. Although they would never use the word fearful, that's really what it is. It's a massive trauma response to human relationships. So they are preventing it. But if she's settling for situationships without even asking for more, and she's just grown used to that, and that's all she thinks she deserves, she's jumping into men who have no boundaries and won't respect her boundaries, and then she's not laying in expectations. And the moment she starts to ask for anything, those men definitely are going to freak out and run. That could be the more manipulative avoidant men, or it could be that they are disorganized type and that she is flooding them with love and connection, and they are getting oxytocin. Now they have a process, it's called an oxytocin phobic response, where if she makes them feel connected and they feel too good, they will run away from her because they're afraid of getting too close to her because it feels like terror. So she might be
I would agree
connecting to
with that. I
disorganized
would
men.
say that she'd be quite a nice, like, girlfriend. She would be very nice to them and, compliment them and give
That's what
them
I mean.
really good feedback on their work. A lot of them would work in the creative industry, so does she. So, yeah, I could see that that would be an issue. But luckily now she's realized that she is anxiously
Hmm.
attached. So she
Hmm.
started doing work and recognizing these patterns.
I wonder a little bit. So this is one of the limits with attachment theory as it was. I've updated the field. I've updated it to create 8 attachment styles. There's two split off from each one. I've split each one into two, and disorganized has a blend now, a split. There's what I call loud disorganized, where it's men who can't be in relationships. They run extremely hot and cold. They crave your love up front, and the moment you give it to them, they run screaming from the building and jump out the window and light the place on fire while they're at it. Then they come sneaking back in later because they're lonely and hurt, so they come back for more love and approval after a week or two when things cool down and they get embarrassed. But there's women who've been largely ignored and they kind of had anxious tendencies, but they didn't really fit anxious patterns. They're much more stable than that. They're great at jobs, very logical, very self-reliant. From the outside, if you didn't see their romance life, you would think they had everything completely together. But they've experienced a lot more abuse, and so they're used to wild chaos. And a lot of them will settle for situationships. I call it quiet disorganized. They because they had so much abuse and so much trauma as a kid, their fight or flight is gone. They don't have a fight or flight response. They don't fight tooth and nail, but they also don't run away. They have a freeze response. They've gone down to the fawn or freeze. So when someone asks something of them, they just sort of freeze. They don't know how to get close. They don't know what people expect. Is this maybe what she's doing, do you think?
It could be, yeah, it could be that. And I'd say a lot of people
Possible.
listening to this, it'll probably feel very familiar to a lot
Mhm.
of women, I think, who have, like, I hear it all the time um on my TikTok where women say, they accidentally got into a situationship because they thought that it was going somewhere. And
Mhm.
then it turns out that he never had that intention at all. She was 2 months in, she thought it was going to be boyfriend, girlfriend, and then it's like, oh no, never mind. He just looks at
I,
me like something to ride, and that was it.
I talk to women who have been in 8-year situationships who write to me and say, Adam, do you think he's ever going to ask me to be his girlfriend? Women are waiting and settling for a lot of things they shouldn't. And that's part of the problem. If a guy wants a marriage and a commitment, he'll talk to you about it pretty quick. If you're just rolling into it, odds are good he doesn't want a connection.
Yeah. And like the advice that you would give, like if I met somebody who was avoidant, I I wouldn't work on them. I just don't care. I would just cut my losses and run. Like there's nothing you can do. You just need to get the fuck out.
Usually, yeah, if they're more ethically avoidant, if they're open to having conversations, fantastic. You can build a secure relationship sometimes with some people who are ready, but if you're having to chase someone down to make them have the conversations with you, it's no, don't you can't be their parent and you can't police somebody into being secure or wanting to be with you. A lot of women fall into the trap of thinking that men are like women. Women will change for a relationship. If you give a woman affection, love, kindness, and you adore her, then a lot of women will try to micro tune themselves to be better with you and for you and care for you. Men don't
Mm.
do that. Men only change for circumstances. Men look for problems and then solve problems. If you are sleeping with him, feeding him, stroking his hair, stroking his ego, and pushing your boobs in his face every 5 minutes, his brain's not going to say, huh, something's wrong. I should improve myself. His brain is going to say, huh, I'm doing everything right. I should never change ever under any circumstance. So you've got to provide consequences, quite honestly, and circumstances that he needs to adapt to. That's what's really going to show you who he is and what he's going to do.
And in Ireland, I would say that there's a common thing that's going on where women are now just deciding to not not get involved with men. They're just going to stay
They're giving up.
single. They're just like, fuck this. They'll go on the apps, they'll go off the apps, they'll take breaks. They're just not going to get involved unless they find somebody that, is obviously good enough. And it's good. I'm always telling people keep your standards high, like don't lower them. But if you're single for what somebody deems is too long, you're considered like picky or fussy. And the other day, a woman sent me in a picture of an Instagram chat that she had. So she had put up a picture on like New Year's Eve and said, started 2024 single, ending 2024 single, consistency is key. It was just a joke, like a little
Mhm.
meme. And some man replied to her and said, maybe the issue is that your standards are too high. And now she ended up blocking him. Obviously, that was the right thing to do. But like, what's your advice on that for women who are either getting told that their standards are too high and that they need to lower them, or women who, I suppose, standards are too low and they're accepting too little?
Great question. No, this is a fantastic question. The answer is never to lower your standards. That is never really the answer. What's what the problem is that I have seen is with the rise of attachment issues, what that indicates is that our society is, we are responding as if we are in a social collapse. Now, women are biologically designed to seek safety and stability for a number of reasons. We all want safety and stability, but women especially are designed for their nervous systems to need safety and stability in their environment. access to good resources, someone that they can trust. Men have a little more leeway with our nervous systems, but women really need it. And women who do not have safety and stability, maybe not an adequate father figure or caregiver system, maybe their parents split up, maybe society is not working the way it should, if they don't have that, their nervous system is overclocked all the time, and they have to fall into a very masculine role of protecting themselves and making that safety and stability for themselves. Women are not supposed to have to be isolated and alone. That's not how hunter-gatherer brain works, and nervous systems are supposed to operate. So a lot of women, quite frankly, are very terrified and alone and exposed, and they're looking not necessarily for a good partner. They're looking for someone who's going to help keep them alive, and so their standards go up because they get hurt so many times by people that don't do their job and are not an adequate, loving partner. But also because those women are so alone, maybe they don't even have very many friends. Their family hasn't been there for them. They are so they need so much, and not in a bad way. It's not unreasonable for them to need that much. It's basic biological, neurological needs. One man could not possibly fulfill all of those needs. Number one, women need each other. I'm glad that you and Justine have each other, but women need each other a lot
Yeah.
more, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
And family and safety and connection, and then men. Like man is
Yeah.
supposed to come in and add to that. Um,
But I would always say
man,
work on
it's
yourself first. If you find that you're, like I would talk to a lot of people who, now I'm no professional, I'm not anything. I basically went on 55 first dates and I documented them on TikTok. And then from that, I got a bit of a following. And now I have a boyfriend for the last year. He's lovely. He's great, perfect. But people would ask me for advice, and I'm always saying, like, fucking hell. Like, they're like, oh, he hasn't texted me back in a day. He's posting stories on his Instagram, but he hasn't replied to me. He's I ask him, when are we going on our second date? And he's like, oh, I'm a bit busy next week, but maybe Wednesday we'll see how it goes. And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, end that. Block him. Get rid. Like, there's so many shite men, well, and women, but I'm not coming from that perspective. I just don't, obviously, wasn't dating them. But like, there's so many shite men. You need to like respect yourself.
yep, 100%. It's a man. A man shouldn't be cleaning up after your emotions if you're hyper vigilant and obsessed. But at the same time, if a man's interested in you, he should pursue you. You should not chase you, but pursue you. You should be a priority. He should be interested in you. He should be contacting you, talking with you. He should be eager to see you. Do not settle for a man who does not act like he's excited to talk to you, because
Hmm.
that's not a man who's going to be excited to talk with you. That's at 15 years. Today is my 16-year wedding anniversary with my
No,
wife, and she's
congratulations.
half Irish. Thank you. She's half
Very good.
Irish, red curls all the way down. And all my daughters all have red hair, and it's lovely. So I love Ireland. I'm gonna have to visit you guys soon.
Red
But
hair is the Scottish, but close
is
enough.
it now? Is it
Yeah.
now? Okay, well that's my mother's people. I'm half Scottish on my mother's side,
Oh,
so there we go. We
very
fight
good.
across the aisles. But, but if you want to get to 16 years, he'd better be excited to see you. He'd better be excited to get that second date going. He shouldn't be like a puppy dog seeking approval. He should be like a man who's interested and says, "Look, I've had a great first date with you. I would love to talk with you again. Are you available next week? If Wednesday is open for me, does that work for you?" He should
Yeah.
be stating his interest clearly and confidently, and then asking when you are available. This is what this man should be doing. If he's
And I always
not,
say,
then no.
yeah, no, get rid. I always say then, there's a lot of women who, I suppose, with every date or every conversation on Tinder or everything that goes on, a little bit of their confidence chips away a bit more. And I say that you need to delete the apps, stop dating, and like take up a hobby, go running, like just literally do anything, make some friends for yourself, go to the cinema, literally do anything at all than being so obsessed about finding a man.
You know how women used to find men in a much better way? Do you know?
The bars? No, that's how we met them.
Bars? No,
Yeah.
no. Bear traps. They would use bear traps. No.
Oh,
For all of human history, women have found men through their family and friend network. Even back as far as 1995, 10,000 years ago, they 65% of couples, at least in the US, were finding partners through family and friend connections. Now it's only 12%. 12% of women find connections through family and friends. And this is part of the problem is when you don't date pre-vetted men, you don't know what you're getting. Number one, you have no idea. You have no data on this random guy. He's some dude that you found in the forest. And you're like, yeah, I guess you could be my husband. That doesn't work that way. You have no information. So you have to figure out everything from scratch. Women should not have to deal with this. You need somebody that's come through your family friend network so they have 5, 10, 20 years of data about him and they can talk to you about his patterns, his behaviors, his tendencies, especially when he's stressed out. How does he act? But number two, when he knows the people in your network and they know him and his friends and family, he is now pressured to treat you with some level of politeness. Not all of them will, but he is pressured to, or he will be shamed by his community. These are the men who at least they're not, they're not pulling their pants down on the first date in the parking lot kind of thing. These are not the guys sending you inappropriate pictures that you don't want. These are not the guys, calling you every bad name in the book just because you won't have a second date. These are not the men ghosting you usually either. These are the men who at least will be reasonable and polite because everybody knows them and they will have social backlash if they don't do it well. The problem is that a lot of women don't have family friend networks, number one. And if they do, they don't know how to talk to them about, hey, please find me somebody. Blind date, right? Blind date, match make me, find me somebody somewhere. And if their network is not healthy, then they just say, oh, well, I guess it's doomed. You need to be expanding that network. Everybody out there, please expand your network because if you're lonely or afraid, your friends and your family networks, if your family's not great, then your friend and community is what determines a lot of your quality of life, a lot of your happiness, a lot of your safety, a lot of your stability, your biochemical, neurochemical safety. As women, especially, you need a tribe. You don't need one dude. If you're a hunter gatherer 10,000 years ago running from saber-toothed tigers in the forest, you don't go find some random dude and be like, please protect me and I'll do anything and everything for you. You go to your tribe and they are protective and safe. And that's where you can rest is with the people that you trust, not some
Like,
random
yeah,
dude in the forest.
matchmaking and setting up friends, it's definitely not done anymore. I don't know why people don't do it. But I
Because they
matchmake my
don't they don't
followers.
have. Yeah, see there you see, there. Okay, everybody out there, she will help you. Just the assistance, but no, it's family and friends. It's because people don't have family and friends anymore. They're disconnected from the attachment issues, or they're shy about it and they're ashamed to ask. They feel like a failure if they have to ask for help, which is stupid because this is the number one thing humans have always done. Or their family and friend networks are not healthy and they don't know that they can go make more friends and more connection and network. They're afraid to do that or don't think they can. So they just say, oh well, I guess I'm doomed. So it's a helplessness. Go make community. Like you said a moment ago, brilliantly. Go out, get a hobby, build a community, talk to people,
Makes sense.
engage, grow, learn. As you do that, you're going to either find that like amazing old lady who sits in the corner and adores you and then has the perfect grandson who is your dream man that he all he does is work and he works, he takes care of his gran and he loves her and like he will never go to a bar or Tinder, so you will never meet him and he's been waiting to get married but he hasn't talked to women. Like she will help you find him.
Where are you thinking that women should go to meet or to get these kind of communities? Now, I would say there's a cultural difference here between America and Ireland.
Yeah, there is.
You
There
would
really
say, I
is.
feel like the church is a big thing over there where people will meet other
Mm,
people through the church.
mm, mm. I say religious groups, but not necessarily the church itself. If you join like a Bible group or something like that, a Bible readings group. But honestly, discussion groups. Go to discussion groups. Those are making a big comeback. Go to hiking groups. Go to places where you can learn skills, but they're group skills. Those are usually very useful. What's fascinating is volunteering. Volunteering areas where you are putting in time to help other people. Maybe it's a cancer volunteer group, something for babies who are born premature, for their health. Over here in the US, we call it March of Dimes. Getting involved in organizations like this, number one, not only, I mean, maybe you'll meet a gorgeously hot guy right there who's like, man, I wish I could just find a wife and get married. Maybe, but maybe you meet his mom, maybe you meet his sister, maybe you meet his best friend who's married but has this great guy on the side to connect you to. Go there and make connections with people and just meet these people. Number one, you're going to make friends. Number two, these probably are going to be people who share some of your values or your desires, your beliefs, your hobbies, so you can connect with them. And number three is you put the word out that, yeah, I'm single and I'm looking for a husband. Don't say I'm looking for a man to date. I'm looking for a husband. If you know somebody, please let me know. I'd be happy to connect to
Yeah.
somebody. When you
Uh,
meet 5, 10, 20 people and you have 20 people matchmaking for you that are good people with good hearts who share your values, your hobbies, your interests, now you've got an army. Now you've got
yeah.
help.
Like run clubs, they've made a big comeback. That's another
Hmm.
thing. I suppose
Hmm.
anything like sailing, rowing, there's
Hmm.
all sorts of clubs that people could join. And like you're not, I believe you're not a great fan of the apps because I had heard on one of your videos before, high quality women are not on Tinder and are not on social media, which I find very interesting.
Now, high quality is a very specific term because people ask me that and they say high quality meaning ready to get married. And a lot of women out there, you probably are sweet and wonderful and you're on Tinder and you bristled when you heard that, and that's fine. I'll say it again. You probably are not ready to get married. And that's one of the reasons you're on Tinder looking for that, because you probably don't have a community. You are probably looking for a man who's going to adopt you like a puppy and save you and try to make you feel safe and comfortable. And you're looking for a man who's going to regulate your nervous system for you. And you have nothing going on in your life except him. So if he marries you, you will collapse into depression and be miserable as you're married because you're going to be eaten away by confusion, fear, and insecurity. You are not a bad person by any means. This is not to criticize you, but you probably are not ready to get married. That's usually the case, to be
Ready
honest.
to get married, like you'd be assuming that you'd be going out or dating this person for 2 or 3 years or whatever before you would actually get married.
Ready
So
to
I
get
feel like
married meaning if you're married, okay, that's not the finish line, that's the beginning, that's the starting line. What do you do next? When he go If he goes to work, do you go to work too? Do you have separate jobs? Are you going to be a stay-at-home wife or stay-at-home mom? Do you want to do that? Are you going to, if he goes out with his friends, are you going to wrap yourself in a shawl and sit by the window sobbing until he comes home because you have no one and nothing? Are you going to go out with your friends? Will you have a thriving life? Do you have hobbies and interests outside of him? Do you regulate your own nervous system so that when you are upset and sad, can you manage yourself a bit? Or does he have to manage every feeling you have for you? Are you constantly consumed with fear, insecurity, sadness? He didn't hold my hand in the last 20 minutes, so it must mean he doesn't love me anymore. He hasn't complimented me. He's sitting at the other end of the couch watching the movie with me, but I texted him something and he didn't check it. That means he doesn't care about me. He hasn't responded yet. Is he just at work or does he not love me? It's the getting married is, believe me, it's the beginning of the race. It's not the
think that
end.
those are the type of women who would be on Tinder, that
I
they
know,
go hand in hand, that a
typically.
normal woman couldn't possibly be just out there trying to cast her net as far as possible to find a decent man. I think that that's like a cultural difference again, because especially with COVID, we um with people not going out. And I would say bars and nightclubs, like pubs, like the drinking, there's a big drinking culture in Ireland, and
Mm-hmm.
lots of people would have met each other in the pub. And that all kind of disappeared after COVID. It was like people weren't used to approaching each other anymore, and the
Mm-hmm.
confidence kind of went down. And then there was a huge spike in the use of dating apps during COVID. So
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like it's just looked at as another avenue. But I think that you or a lot of people maybe in America would look at it as the type of women who go on here are for the streets.
Well, it depends. It depends which app specifically. Because here in America, Tinder is known as the go on there, sleep with people app. And that's not all it's for, certainly.
Mm.
And a lot of the women are not on there for that at all. But the women who typically are more connected and more looking for a deeper experience generally use more apps in America here, like Hinge. Hinge is a really good one
Bumble.
for women who are. In
Oh
America,
no.
Bumble is. Mm, in America, Bumble has a connotation of being the place where women who have the most trauma go because they're afraid of men. they want to control the experience, and they're more avoidant. So a lot of the avoidant women will, or traumatized women will use Bumble more. And Bumble is actually having some massive difficulties in America where they started off being the place where women have to make the first move, but women won't. So there's very few connections happening on Bumble. So Bumble is now having to change their entire model over here in America because it isn't working. So here in America, typically Hinge is the good one right now, where a
Yeah.
lot of women who are marriage minded go to Hinge. A lot of women who are looking for, look, I just want someone to pay attention to me, and everybody seems to be on Tinder, so I guess I'll try it. Or I just got out of an 8-year relationship, maybe I'll try Tinder and see because it's real fast, it's super easy. It's not that they're for the streets. I'm not going to certainly say that, but I will say, I've met plenty of women, plenty of my coaching clients come in and they're like, yeah, I was on Tinder. I found my last boyfriend. Some of them got married from Tinder, but they are consumed exactly like I just described. They're consumed by anxiety. It's not that she has slept with every man in America. It's she is a very sweet, kind, wonderful woman. Got on Tinder hoping someone kind of would like adopt her, marketed herself on Tinder almost like an Amazon product. He picked her up and then they got married fairly quickly, and now she's just consumed with unhappiness and doesn't know how to live her life in any way, shape, or form. She jumped into the marriage. It's like a dog chasing a car, and now she caught the car, and now she doesn't know what to do because the car's about to back over her. So again, Tinder, the connotation of it here in America is different. The pub
Yeah.
thing, exactly. The bar thing. Here in America, you do not want to go to bars to meet a partner, because bars is where people go when they are depressed. They want to get really drunk. They want to have sex in the bathroom. It's going to be a different person every couple nights, and you go there, like, you don't go to bars to find a quality partner in America. However, the pub scene overseas is very different. You guys have a
Yeah.
thriving cultural experience of pubs and everything, very very different from here. So I would never apply that standard over there to Ireland
I
like
know,
we do
yeah,
here in
things
America.
can be
Very
different.
different.
Like, I suppose I met my boyfriend actually through my social media, as in the dating orange social
Hmm.
media, not my real one. And he was on all the dating apps, as was I at the time. Well, Tinder, Hinge, and Bumble. But yeah, I suppose people do think that Tinder is the one that's more for meeting somebody to have sex. But I always kind of looked at it as actually the most men are on Tinder. And
Mm.
I think if there's men who are feeling a bit uneasy about joining apps and they want to make the first step into it, it seems that Tinder was always like
Hmm.
there's way more people on Tinder. So I always thought that the chances were greater, but actually probably the
It's
chances
too
of
easy.
finding hmm?
It's too easy though. That's
Really, yeah.
that's the problem. You make it too dang easy, and then any guy can get on there. You need to make it, ladies out there need to make it a little more difficult for a man to date them. Women make it way too easy for men to date them, and I don't mean have sex with. I mean date. The women who are like, okay, you just want to sort of have me around, and we won't even discuss relationships. It'll be a situationship. Okay, I won't even mention it. Women make it so dang easy for these men. And the guys that will do that with you are not usually the men you want to be with. The men
No.
you want to be with are waiting for you to say, hey, I'm looking for a relationship. Are you looking for a relationship? Because that's all I'm going to settle for. And he goes, hey, that's what I want too. Sounds like you take relationships seriously. I do too. And those guys, it's refreshing to them when you have a boundary like that. It's refreshing to them when you know what you want and you say it. My wife, very quickly, we got engaged at 2 weeks because she was so clear and direct with me about what she wants. Yep, 2 weeks. We met
Well,
through friends. We met through friends. Her best friend was dating my best friend. I said, this
how
sounds
long did you
great.
know each other before that, though? Had you been
No,
around
not
in
at
each
all. Not at
2 weeks?
all. 2 weeks. Our best friends knew each other, knew us. They were dating. They said, hey, we have someone for you. We got connected. I said, look, I got out of a bad relationship a while ago. I'm ready. I want to get married. I'm not going to play any games. She said, wonderful. I want to find a husband and start having babies. I want to start my own business, and I want to have a husband for life. I said, let's talk about our values. Talked about our values, talked about life goals, our religious faith. Everything clicked. I said, you are too good. I am not letting another man scoop this up. You are going to marry me. I didn't even ask. I told. And she said, okay. So 2 weeks we got engaged. We married at 11 months. So we dated for
You really
11
pushed that
months
out.
total. We did, yeah, definitely. I would dragged it out. But we just hit today is our 16-year wedding anniversary. We have 5 kids. So
Ooh.
I know that this system works
Are you
through
both
family and
securely
friends is best.
attached?
We are indeed. We are
Are
indeed.
you? Both of you. Very good. Can one
That's
person
the
can a
magic
person
too.
change from one to the other? Like it
You
can
must.
an anxious.
You must. I
Oh.
grew up with really bad attachment myself. I fixed it when I was about 20 before I met
Oh.
her. I married her when I was 22. Um, so really, really
Jesus,
delayed that one
22.
too.
You're only small babies.
Well, we made it work. But yeah, no, I was not securely attached growing up. You must fix your attachment. And that's why I'm not here to judge anybody. When I tell women you're not ready to get married yet, it's not that you're never going to be, and it's not that you're bad. It's not that how you grew up has messed you up and you're worthless. Not by any means, not at all. You could be quite spectacular. But growing more secure where you can tell a man, hey, no, thank you, I'm not interested, where you can tell a man, hey, I'm only going to spend my time and attention on you if you're willing to commit to me the way that I want you to.
Yeah,
If you're willing to just tell a man what you want and ask what he wants. You could be polite and wonderful. No need to be mean about it. A lot of women think that it's either
they're
be a
gonna look like a
doormat
bitch.
or be mean or a raging bitch. Doormat or
Mm.
bitch. That's the two
Yeah,
modes.
that's it.
So they're like, well, I don't want to do that, so I guess I'll do this. Then they settle for situationships. No,
Yeah,
be the woman who knows what she wants, but is polite and friendly about it.
no, that's
And
great.
and that's where you'll find a husband.
And Joan, I hear as well, women talking about narcissists, and I feel like that word has really spiked. Everybody, if you meet an arsehole, everybody's calling them a narcissist. Like, can you clarify what exactly it is? It's actually a bit of a pet peeve of mine because it is
Yeah, mine
like
too.
they're horrible, like actual narcissists. It is a thing that can be like diagnosed.
Yes. Yeah, listen to me.
So,
I used to work with death penalty inmates who would kill people and tell you that it was their fault, or hurt children and tell you it was the kid's fault. These are narcissists. These are brutal, savage narcissists, and not all of them are murderers, but all of them are awful. So, real narcissistic personality disorder, it's only maybe 1 to 2% of the population, unless everyone on the planet is dating the 1 to 2% people,
yeah,
which is not happening. But you can have avoidant attachment style that is very manipulative, and you have a negative view of other people, and you view that other people will hurt you if they got a chance, so you can justify doing hurtful things to other people in defense proactively, but not fall into a full personality disorder. It's not about viciously brutalizing other people. It's about gaslighting behaviors, stonewalling behaviors. In relationships, you refuse to cooperate. That's manipulative avoidant attachment style with narcissistic traits. And a lot of people see that, but they're coming from the anxious side. So it makes it feel 10 times worse because they're used to getting brutalized by this side. They're used to being told they're unlovable. They already feel unlovable. Now it's confirmed to them in their eyes, and they are hurt over and over and over. And when I started talking about attachment theory years back on the internet, no one would talk about it. So I started teaching about it and talking about it. And now everyone everywhere wants to talk about it, which is cool. But unfortunately, a lot of what they do now, they learn just enough about attachment theory to get in trouble. They go on and then they talk to these injured, really wounded women and say, look, you're not the problem, which is good. You're not the problem. He's the problem. And then that's the problem right there. He's the problem. He's an unlovable monster who is incapable of love or affection at all. And you are a sweet victim. You've been a saint all your life, and he is an unstoppable nightmare. And he is the issue. And then they ally these women against these men and start throwing terms like narcissist. Even though he's here on the spectrum, narcissistic personality disorders here, they're coming from way over here, so it looks extreme. That's what I think is
right.
happening. It's just enough attachment theory to get in trouble, and everybody's screaming about it. And the guys over here who are avoidant but ethical, they're in the middle getting whooped on by both sides, and they just don't want anything to do with anybody anymore because they're so used to getting demonized.
Now, there was something else that you said that I found really interesting, emotional impermanence. And I feel like that's
Yes.
something I've come across loads in just like friends or men that my boyfriends, and even I've noticed it in myself when I was, I would say, teenager 20s.
Mhm.
As I've gotten older, I feel like I've been able to kind of balance myself out a bit more. But can you explain that to people? Because I'm sure a lot of people
Absolutely.
know.
Absolutely. So the best way to describe an emotional impermanence is this. When we are born, when we're babies, we have object impermanence. A baby does not know that when you take their little teddy bear and you hide it, in your hand. They don't know it's still there. They think it's gone. Then when you show it to them again, it still exists. So we play peekaboo to teach them. We put a blanket over the bear, and the baby pulls it off and learns the object is still there. This is called object permanence. When I don't see it, it still exists. We also can develop emotional impermanence if our caregivers didn't give us consistent love and care. If your mom was hot and cold all the time, your dad was never present, you felt like you had to fight for love and approval all the time and get attention. And if there was always something slightly off and you had to just be on guard all the time, you could develop emotional impermanence, which is if someone is not in front of you, giving you love and affection. And especially if there's a circumstance where they're not paying attention to you when you want them to. You text him and he doesn't text you back for half an hour. It turns into an hour. It turns into 2 hours. You don't know where he is. And you start worrying. If he goes out with his friends and now they're gone and they're at maybe some event where he could meet a pretty girl and now you're afraid and you're concerned. If you haven't seen them in a couple of days and you start to really worry, do they still love me? Do they still care about me? Did I upset them? Did I say something wrong? You see your boyfriend, he just looks irritated that day. And you think, what if it's me? What if it's me he's mad at? And you ask, what's wrong? He says nothing and he won't talk about it. And you know something's off, but you assume it's you. This is emotional impermanence. The idea is that people are falling out of love with you all the time. They are a moment away from abandoning you. And it's the belief that feelings don't last and that you're not worthy of ongoing love and consistency either. So you have to constantly make people like you. You have to constantly refill that bucket all the time of love and approval. And you need attention to prove that you deserve love, or else you are not being loved. It's a terrible thing that a lot of women and some men struggle with, and it's just heartbreaking. It's fixable, very fixable, but heartbreaking that people struggle with it.
And they're flipping out. So if they feel like
Hmm.
somebody, boyfriend goes out with his friends and you text him and be like, oh, hi, what time are you coming home or whatever, and then he's hasn't replied and you're like, what's going on? And then he hasn't replied. And then you're sending message after message. Then you're saying, actually, fuck this. Don't even bother. Don't bother coming home. And then you're like,
Hmm.
God, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. Will you please
Hmm.
ring me? So this constant kind of spiraling. And then he's like, sorry, I had no reception. I'm on the way home. And it's like, oh,
Right. Yep. Now you have really stepped in it. Now you're embarrassed. Now you have to
mm,
apologize. Now you're even more terrified because now it looks like he is going to leave
um,
you because he's
yeah.
going to leave you. He's going to stop on the way home and find a new girlfriend at the store because you were so awful. You sent him these messages. He's going to come home with the new girlfriend in the trunk of his car and say, "Hey, I don't need you anymore. Already found a replacement. Bye." And that's how that's going to go. So now he gets home. You are super approval seeking. Now you need reassurance that he loves you. And the problem with emotional impermanence is that you're suffering, but now he has to constantly check in and reassure you, and you look exhausting and needy to him. And if
Yeah.
he's avoidant and afraid of intimacy anyway, and his dopamine is dying and he's less attracted to you, now it looks like you're a constant project. It's not that you're bad, it's that you have created a self-fulfilling prophecy. I am too much for people. They don't love me. They're falling out of love with me. Oh no, it's happening right now. Oh no, he's out of love with me. He's exhausted. He doesn't like me. I knew it. I'm unlovable. It creates this endless cycle of women being abandoned over and over and over and believing that they don't deserve love. And that this
How
is
do
why
you
women
fix
get
it?
worse. So this is anxious attachment style. And this is why I said if you're feeling this way, you're probably on Tinder and you're probably like, please adopt me, please don't leave me. This is usually what I see. So fixing this, number one, usually becoming aware of it is crucial so that you can understand that this is not a real thing. It's your brain freaking out because you're afraid of being abandoned. Number two, you fix it with friends and family more. You don't fix it with a man. Not first, not at first. A partner is way, way, way too much stress and the pressure is too high. You fix it with friends first. And I have books, I have courses, everything on fixing this. But honestly, it's opening up to the people around you about your feelings and experiences and sort of outing yourself as being overthinking and anxious, letting them know you're not going to do it anymore, and then asking if you can check in with them if anything ever goes a little bit sideways, so that you can just check in and say, hey, um, I'm feeling a little worried that you're out and I haven't heard from you. Please give me a text when you get this, just so that I can calm down because you know how I am. Being able to send a text like that to your boyfriend
Yeah.
super easy. That's way easier. Like, just shoot me a text when you're good, and then I'll feel good. And he could just say,
Yeah.
"Hey, babe, I'm good. Don't worry. Okay, thanks. Done." And as he can do that and be consistent, number one, he's accepting you, and you're showing him your imperfections, and he's accepting them. So you're going to flood with oxytocin. You're going to learn over time that you're safe, and then checking in and getting consistency with him, with a friend, your mom, whoever. All of that connection, it feels safer and it begins to heal you. So that is absolutely crucial that you start getting that with people.
Stalking exes' profiles is
Mhm.
something I'd say 99% of women have done.
Yeah.
How are we meant to get over it?
Oxytocin is meant to linger. It's a bonding hormone that is meant to keep us wanting to be with someone. When you have an oxytocin bond as mammals, you're going to stay together and raise your children together, most likely, which gives your kids the best chance of survival. So when you're having a bunch of sex with a partner, you're oxytocin bonding with them. This is a basic survival thing. It's normal to stay connected to a partner emotionally. It's not normal to have the massive breakup cycles that we have and be so disconnected and alone and fearful all the time. So number one is that understand that that desire is normal. But so when we experience those oxytocin breaks, what we are meant to do is get that oxytocin connection with friends and family. Like I said at the beginning, and I'll say
Yeah.
forever for as long as I live, most women are so alone and so isolated that they cannot get their needs met through their community. Women are not supposed to get all their needs met through a man.
Yeah.
Some needs, sure, but most women use a man. I don't mean use like in a bad way. They use a man to fulfill all of their safety, all of their approval, all of their connection. A man is everything to them, and that is not how a
Wouldn't
man
be the
should be in
way.
your life.
No.
Not at all. And that's the reason most women are stalking men and exes is because her life feels so empty without him that she is unfulfilled, she is emotionally starving, and now she wants to see what he's up to because she's just so I can't stop thinking about him. I need a fix. And then she goes and gets her fix by stalking his social media profiles and understanding more about where he's at. It's a process.
The answer to a lot of women's issues would be, take a look at your life, have a look at what's around you, who's around you, and what you have involved, and don't concentrate completely on having a man or
Right.
thinking about them 24/7. But
Yeah.
I'm going to finish up on this next one because I thought it was quite funny. You got a bit of hate, was it on Twitter, from feminists
I that
about,
happens all the time. Please be more
does it all the
specific.
time? So this one I saw was you put up a video about this is how all women should be, and it was a woman greeting her husband at the door, and it was like ring doorbell or whatever, capturing a few times that this woman was at the door when the
Mhm,
husband pulls up and she smiling and gives him a hug.
mhm,
So
mhm.
what was the feminists' take on that?
The feminist take was that her greeting her husband joyfully every day when he comes home was essentially emotional slavery, that she was responding like a mindless dog and a pet, and that she shouldn't be forced to respond joyfully to someone who's probably mistreating her anyway. That was the
Oh,
approach that feminists
fucking
gave.
hell.
Yeah, a little bit brutal. The other side of the coin, of course, is that for yes, I think a woman should be joyful to greet her man when she reconnects with him, whether he's coming home or she's coming home. I think a woman should be joyful and throw her arms around him and be glad. I think that a man should throw his arms around her and be glad to reconnect with her.
Yeah,
And I think
exactly.
he should be worthy. He should be worthy of that kind of joy. He should be worthy of inspiring that kind of joy so that when he's around, she is that joyful. I think that that's what
Yeah.
couples should be to each other.
Like first when I look at that now, I am a staunch feminist myself, but when I first looked at that video, I was like, God, that's so typical. The man comes in and the woman who is not working and just like as in it's the typical roles here. The
Yeah,
housewife and the man
sure.
comes home and she has nothing else to do except stand on the doorstep and smile. But then I was like, right, calm down. Calm down, right? I
Hmm.
If you just simplify it, you should be happy to see your partner. Like when they come through the
Yeah.
door, you should be like, like I would want my boyfriend to be happy when he sees me. Like I understand that there's times where we're totally stressed from work. Sometimes he comes in and I'm on the laptop and I give him a kiss and I'm like, right, that's it. Back on the laptop. But like
Yeah.
I'm happy to see him.
Yeah. My wife, when we first got married together, she ran a business and helped put me through psychology school and graduate school. I worked a job. She ran a whole business. Amazing. She got a full ride scholarship to Harvard Business because she was valedictorian in her school. Brilliant, brilliant woman. When I got through my graduate school, when I started building my business, she retired completely and is a stay-at-home mom
Oh,
and now raises and homeschools our 5 children. It's not that she doesn't work. Her job is to raise our 5 children and keep the home, but she ran her own business first and put me through school. So when she was working, I'd happily greet her from that work and connect with her. She would go out and work. I was at home doing the studies and that. Now, when I'm working, she happily greets me. She throws everything aside to come greet me. When she goes out and I send her away to be away from the kids for a while, she goes out for a couple hours to get coffee or ice cream. When she comes home, I go to the door and I greet her because I'm happy that she's home.
that's
It's
beautiful.
we should be joyful to meet our partners and see them again and reconnect. Animals have what's called the reunification ritual. When wolves separate from each other in the pack, when they come back together, they reunify and have a reunification ritual. They all wag, they lick, they play. It's a reunification ritual. And that's what that woman was doing, was she was
Yeah.
practicing a reunification ritual with her mate as he was coming home from work. It just so happened that he was the one going out, she was the one at home.
Yeah. No, it is a nice idea. It's something that we can all kind of strive for, that those will be the type of relationships that when we see the other one at the end of the day, that life looks nicer, brighter, where everybody's happier.
Tails should be wagging. That's right.
Exactly.